Okay guys, so today we're going to do a fun project. I'm going to show you guys how to build this entryway or a behind the couch table. This is a 36-inch tall table made out of reclaimed wood. I don't buy wood, I use pallet wood that I find at the dump, reclaimed wood to make all my projects. So this is a fun project. You can do over the weekend, and I'm going to show you how I built it and how you can make one too. So let's get started and enjoy the video. Okay guys, so here we go. I love making projects out of wood. All these projects here you see I've made out of scrap wood, pallet wood that I find. And today we're going to show you how to make this little end table here out of this wood I found here, 5-foot piece. I have a couple of 2x4s there and a dining room leaf from a table. Here are the parts that are finished here. I'm showing you a preview of the assembly on how this project is going to come out once we're all done. Entryway or behind the couch table. And once it's, finished up, that's what we get. So here's a piece of wood I found at the dump, and I'm cutting it in half. It's about a 3.5 by 5.5 foot piece that I cut in half, and now I'm joining all 4 corners of this piece of wood. I got 2 5-inch pieces here by about 1.5 inch thick, and as you can see, after I joined them, I get a nice edge so I can put these two together, and that will be my tabletop. So I just go ahead here, you can see me doing some glue, adding some glue to do a glue up on this piece, and then we clamp it up, let it sit overnight, and then once we take the clamps off, we end up with a nice piece of wood, which of course we have to then plane down. Now you can do this by hand with a sander. After you take the glue off here, I'm taking a scraper to it. And then this is about 10 inches now, and I'm just going to put it straight through the planer and get it nice and flat. Very heavy piece of wood. I'm not even sure what type of wood it is. It was just a nice thick piece of wood someone threw out. Here's a 2x4 that I'm going to use for the legs. I'm just cutting it in half here. You can just use regular power tools to do this as well. You don't have to have a table saw here. And you can see me cutting these legs in half. I'm going to get 4 pieces here. Here's a couple of blocks of wood I had. I'm cutting these to make supporting braces for the skirt. Okay, right here is these 2 pieces of wood I have. I'm going to be using these for the side rails. They came off of a twin bed. So I found them again at the dump. I cut those in half, and now you see I have all the pieces lined up. 4 legs. This is a mock-up, 2 right there, 2 rails. That's from the twin bed post. And then I have the supporting pieces, these little blocks here. That's gonna go on the bottom for a shelf once I get this complete. So those are all the pieces right here that I'm gonna need for the project. Now, of course, once I have everything, laid out here, I'm marking it out because I use pocket screws to do my joinery, and there's all types of ways you can do that. I'm just putting it in my jig here and using my my drill to make pocket holes. And there's a series of them. I have them marked out, and as you can see, that with a little bit of glue will do the trick. Here's all the pieces now, all done with their pocket screws. And then, of course, after you do that, getting everything lined up here, again, you can see all the parts. It's not much to it. The fun part now is the sanding. So you got to I go through and sand down all the pieces. Here are the legs, just sanding these down with my orbital sander. And now we're doing the tabletop itself. I go over with 80 grit, and then I'll do 120 and 220. And here I'm going to be doing 220, rounding over the corners and the sides. And here are all the pieces now fully sanded and ready for assembly. I've got, 4 legs. There's a tabletop, four supporting pieces, and then the 4 rails, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Here I'm just showing you the legs, 4 supporting rails, and the 4 blocks that will support that. So now that that's all ready and smoothed out, what I have here, when I went to the dump, I found this exercise bike that someone threw out, and of course there's 2 baby seats. I later sold those baby seats. I made $60. One I took back because it was expired, but one had 4 years left, so I made $60 on that. So now I have all my one side, as you can see, down on my table, ready to put my pocket screws in. I get everything lined up nice and square, and I bolt it down, put my pocket screws in, of course, on a flat surface. This is my little makeshift workbench, which I really need to make another workbench. So now here, what you see is a leaf from a dining room table that I'm actually going to use for the bottom shelf. I'm just planing this out real quick. I'm now cutting off the side of it, and this is going to actually go in the middle of the table. As you can see right here, I'm inserting it in, and then I cut 2 supporting pieces for either side that just go in like so. As you can see here, I've got the frame already assembled there. You can see the pocket screw holes, and there's our tabletop, which I'm just kind of lining up, getting a look to see how everything's gonna go here. And that's the beginning of it right there. My brushes came in, so I just thought I'd take a quick shot. I ran out of foam brushes. This is what I use when I do my staining and my poly coat. So now you see me placing some glue down. I'm going to go ahead and put the shelf in the middle there. So of course we got our glue. We pop that in. I have some pieces for the ends that I cut. These are just small little pieces, and as you can see, this is how I make my bottom shelf. I just tap those in, wood glue, and then of course here's more wood glue, and then of course we pop in this other side support for the bottom. Tap everything into place, put your clamps on, let the glue dry, and then coming back here, this is actually the following day. I think this is still drying up, so I'm just placing that skirt on top of the table upside down, as you can see, and then we just do our pocket screws and get everything drilled in place. Right now I'm just testing to make sure everything is level, and everything is level. There's no daylight under that. I'm just using a little card there. Of course you can compensate for that if you ever get something that's a little off, but it's taking time to get to that point. Here I've got some old type of paint that I don't use for the tops. I just do it for the underbelly of my tables, just so that it has a finish on it. Now right here I'm doing my actual stain on this bottom shelf starting out, and this is an oil-based stain I like to use. Of course you want to sand everything down, do a final sanding and rub down before you go ahead and put your first coat on. So I'm using my foam brush, of course, just going through nice even strokes, getting that finished off, and I'm taking kind of just a shop cloth here basically, and wiping off the excess of this stain. As you can see, it's already taking on a nice good little glow there, and that's what that looks like finished with the first coat of stain on it. I did a wipe down. I went back and did a second coat for the top because I wanted to darken it up a little bit. You can see that one on the bottom is a little darker. And here, of course, you see me doing this is second coat of stain. And of course, just even strokes back and forth, you know, not too thick. Sometimes you can get carried away. And it's got a nice little look to it. It doesn't even have the poly coat on yet, but as you can see, that's already looking pretty good there. So now we go straight to our polyurethane, which is, you know, I use a fast drying clear satin or gloss. And again, just putting that on with nice even strokes, nice clean brush. These foam throwaway brushes are pretty nice. Just use them, you know, they're only pennies on the dollar pretty much. And here we have a finished product with our poly coat. And as you can see, this shines up pretty good. People, I used to be able to get a good $120 for these. This is a 3.5, you know, 34 inch, I want to say, 36 inches tall, 10.5 inches wide. And it's a nice little piece for behind the couch, entryway, in the hallway. And they're fun to make. That is it. So on that, as you guys can see, that's a nice weekend project that you guys can do. Just pull out your tools, get some wood, any wood, and just get started. You can do it in a weekend, and it's a fun project. So thanks for joining me. I have a lot of hobbies. This is just one of them. See my playlist for all the different things that I like to do in my retirement years here, and just having fun every day, being grateful with gratitude. So go ahead and get after it, guys. Thanks again.